Now you're going to get some special treatment because we're going to talk about caller-rated distribution, what's also known as VIP routing. And for the benefit of the audience, this video series with Ludo pieces is about how to route incoming calls in contact centres to agents who'll then help the callers. And as you know, contact centres are busy places, so when you call one of them, you typically end up in a queue while you wait for an agent to become available to help you. Now, you should of course stay in that queue for the shortest possible amount of time, and the Zylinc system automatically takes care of that. However, whereas you and I are just ordinary people who are used to standing in line, there are people who are important enough to be able to jump that queue. You know this principle from places like airports, where certain people with first-class tickets or gold memberships or platinum credit cards or people who are kings or queens, well, they're able to get through security much faster than you and I. On a Zylinc system, you can also give certain people such VIP treatment. You can prioritise certain callers so that they get served before others, and you do so based on the number that the caller is calling from, what's known as the A number. You enable this per queue, and you give each of your VIPs a positive rating that describes their importance, for example 10 or 20. Ordinary callers, they always have a rating of 0. When Zylinc distributes calls, it'll then consider the VIP's high rating before waiting time. This means that callers with high ratings will be placed in front of callers with lower ratings, regardless of waiting time. Let's try. As I said, here's the queue, and all the callers in the queue are ordinary callers with a weight of 0. Now another caller joins the queue. When Zylinc looks up the number that caller is calling from, it detects that the caller is a very important person with a rating of 10. Well, a rating of 10 scores higher than how long you waited for, so this VIP will go straight to the front of the queue. Now, a lot of people ask me, well, how would the ordinary callers experience that? What if, for example, you're an ordinary caller who's first in line, and you've been told by a system voice that your call is now number 1. Well, if a VIP caller then jumps to the front of the queue, will the ordinary caller who was originally number 1 then suddenly hear that your call is now number 2? No. The Zylinc system will keep telling that ordinary caller that they're number 1, which is true in a way, only they're number 1 among other ordinary callers on their level, behind any golden VIPs with higher ratings. Another thing that people ask me is this: well, can we also use this method the other way round? For example, if we've got a really awful customer, can we give them a negative rating based on their A number? Well, while you should of course always treat all of your callers with courtesy and respect, you can in fact do that, even in a way that's not too horrible. Let's try. Now, another caller calls the queue, and when Zylinc looks up the number that caller is calling from, it detects that the caller has a negative rating, a rating of -10. Well, a rating of -10 scores lower than the other callers' ratings of 0, so this caller will remain at the back of the queue even when other callers with ratings of 0 join the queue. Then this negatively rated caller will go to the back of the queue. Obviously, that can't go on forever, because then our negatively rated caller would risk never ever getting served. And that's why you can set a time limit on that negative rating. After that time, the deprioritized caller will be handled in the same way as ordinary callers, so this poor fella will eventually get served. Lastly, which sources can you use for looking up callers' numbers and ratings in connection with VIP routing? Well, most organisations use a real-time database lookup, but you can also use a web service lookup or a file lookup That would typically be a CSV file, comma separated values. Or you can use a directory lookup or an import of your contacts. Also, people with the right rights can assign ratings to existing users directly in their Zylinc clients.